From a historical perspective, Israel is an anomaly. We might call them an outlier. They have no comparison. There's no other group who, after being dispersed, ever came back and re-inhabited the lands of their forefathers. This never happened. We can't find any place in history where anybody has ever done this. A land which Ezekiel even once said has been long desolate. And why, when Israel miraculously became a nation again in 1948. In fact, it's interesting how Isaiah makes this statement, Isaiah 66:8. He says, "Can a country be born in a day, or a nation be brought forth in a moment? Yet no sooner is Zion in labor that she gives birth to her children." And so one of the things that we see happened is chronicled by the next slide, is on May 14th, 1948, the United Nations in one day declared that Israel now was a nation. An almost unanimous vote, except for the Arab countries at the time, declaring that Israel should be a state and have a place to live within the Promised Land. And then we find at the result of the Six-Day War, after that Jerusalem was retaken by the Israelites in June of 1967. And that's when a lot of prophecy students began to take very, very close attention. Because you see, for years, as I said, people took an allegorical view, because they said basically the Jewish people are destroyed and dispersed. They will never rebuild a nation. They will never be back in Jerusalem. And they certainly never will ever be able to build a temple. And then all of a sudden, 2 of 3 come to pass within a very few decades. That the nation is rebuilt, they retake Jerusalem, and the only thing that's left outstanding is the rebuilding of the temple, which actually is something that happens as a consequence of the battle that we're going to study, I believe, and results of the Antichrist coming to power, that he actually will work with the Jews in the rebuilding of a third temple on which he places his image and commands the world to worship him. And this opens up the door for the Antichrist. In fact, Daniel tells us, and I think it happens as a consequence of this, that the Antichrist will suddenly confirm a covenant with Israel for 7 years. The 7 years of the tribulation. In other words, he'll basically agree with them for the rebuilding of the temple. And there's debates about where the temple will be built. But essentially, as this fictional portrait illustrates, the idea that where the Dome of Rock once stood will be erected a temple for the worship of the God of Israel, that Israel will have this spiritual revival, that their God is real, he's alive. But then he adds, he says, in the middle of the 7, that means at the 3.5-year point, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering. In other words, stop the service of the temple. And on the wings of the temple, he will set up an abomination that causes desolation until the end that is decreed is poured out on him. Jesus in Matthew 24, and later on in the book of Revelation, we're told exactly what happens. Paul describes it. He says it again in chapter 2 of Thessalonians. The man of lawlessness, when he is revealed, he will oppose and exalt himself over everything that is called God or is worshipped, so that he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God. Proclaiming himself to be God. It's interesting to me. I mean, maybe it's sheer coincidence, but one of the things that God said to Abraham back in Genesis chapter 12 is, and it's kind of a warning, a promise and a warning to the rest of the world. He said, I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who curse you. Let me go out on a very thin, scary political limb here. And I'm not saying this in terms of an endorsement of our current president, but just something occurred to me, and you can take it for what it's worth. Since November, or I should say through November and December, I would say that our current president has been ferociously embattled. I mean, it's like you just, you know, even John Kerry is quoted now of having talked to the Palestinians and told them, don't worry, he won't be around in a year. And there's a lot of that conversation. He's going to be impeached and, you know, so forth and so on. That Maxine Water only has one phrase, and that's impeach, 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 impeach. So, you know, most of us, if you've paid any attention to the news, you've thought, and I thought to myself, how long did this guy endure this? Everything he wanted, he tried to replace and repeal Obamacare. You know, Republicans all, you know, I mean, the whole thing is you just think the toilet needs flushing, you know. I mean, I don't know what. It's just, you just look at the whole thing and go, this is such crazy and chaos, and this is going to be, the government's going to be deadlocked, and nothing's going to get accomplished, and we're not going to move forward. And then all of a sudden, he does something that nobody saw coming. He comes out and says, we're recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And we're going to begin the process of building our embassy in Jerusalem. Wow. And I went back and I said, what was the date of that? And I began to look at what has happened since then. Suddenly the tax bill goes through. Suddenly we find that all sorts of information about what's going on in the dark state is just percolating to the surface, and we're realizing that it looks very likely, like many of our law enforcement agencies, at least the leadership, is corrupt. We began to find out that now they're beginning to run for cover as they're being exposed. The Mueller investigation is probably going to fizzle out because it was based upon a false premise, a fraudulent document. I look at the economy is soaring, the tax bill was passed, the shutdown was shut down, and now DACA and the border wall and all those things are probably going to be happening. And I'm sitting there going, his whole agenda's kind of suddenly come alive and is kind of going across his enemies like a steamroller. And I thought, well, what is it possible that because he has blessed Israel, that God is blessing the U.S., blessing him? Now, you know me, I would never take sides in a political debate. I'll be honest, the man frequently troubles me. Frequently troubles me. I'm glad he lives in Washington and not next door. But I just find it interesting. Cyrus, who liberated Israel, or the Jews, from captivity, was not a nice guy. But God names him in Isaiah and says, I will use you. And God will use anybody, I believe, who will bless the church, who will bless Israel. God says, if they bless you, I'll bless them. So I don't think it's necessarily a magical formula. I don't think that suddenly he's become a nice guy. I mean, I really don't even want to pass judgment on him because I don't know who he is. And I may try to borrow some money from him someday. But the point is, it's just an interesting point. Just a thought.
Alors, merci la gang de J'en ai marre. Merci d'être là avec moi en ce 1er mars 2018. Merci d'être sur Patreon, YouTube, Facebook et quelque part en Europe. Je sais que vous êtes en train de vous faire geler les oreilles. On est avec vous parce que nous autres, ça fait des décennies qu'on s'était fait geler. C'est à votre tour. Ceci étant dit, on va aller voir le grand combat qui se mène en ce moment et qui s'est mené et qui se mènera encore un petit bout de temps entre les idéologies, entre le gouvernement mondial et des forces qui luttent contre ce gouvernement mondial-là. Il n'y en a pas beaucoup. On a les États-Unis avec Donald Trump. Puis je vous ramène dans le temps. On va l'écouter. Donald Trump, présent, est passé aussi, et Barack Obama. Vous allez voir le clash. Le clash, et c'est vécu à même les États-Unis. Le clash pour ce contrôle ultime du gouvernement mondial, il se vit aux États-Unis. La plaque tournante de ce combat-là, c'est les États-Unis. Vous n'allez pas en revenir, écoute, je vous montre ça, puis je vous traduis ça au fur et à mesure.
Your faith and prayers have sustained me.
Vos prières et votre foi m'ont soutenu.
What I hear most often as I travel the country
Ce que j'entends le plus quand je voyage à travers le pays,
5 words
c'est ces 5 mots-là suivants
that never ever fail to touch my heart.
qui n'ont jamais failli et touchent toujours mon cœur. C'est ces 5 mots suivants.
That's I am praying for you. I hear it so often. I am praying for you, Mr. President.
Ces phrases-là, quand je voyage, je les entends et ça me touche toujours. Je prie pour vous, Monsieur le Président. Je prie pour vous.
Most importantly, I brought my Bible.
Et le plus important, j'ai apporté ma Bible.
Okay?
But my father came from a Kenyan family that includes generations of Muslims.
Il dit, mon père vient d'une famille du Kenya dans laquelle plusieurs générations de membres de notre famille sont musulmans.
As the Holy Quran tells us,
Comme le Coran sacré nous le dit,
the Holy Quran teaches that,
le Coran sacré nous enseigne,
the Holy Quran tells us, and the Holy Quran also says,
et le Coran sacré nous dit aussi, combien de fois il a fait référence au Coran, parce que Barack Obama, c'est un musulman, c'est quelqu'un qui est né au Kenya, il nous le dit, d'une famille musulmane en plus, mais comme on a voulu en faire le président des États-Unis, pour toutes les raisons que vous connaissez, on a falsifié son endroit de naissance, parce que tu ne peux pas être président des États-Unis si tu n'es pas né aux États-Unis. C'est pour ça que ça a fait beaucoup jaser cette histoire-là de certificat. Et c'est Donald Trump qui a fait sortir la nouvelle et qui a harcelé Barack Obama de prouver qu'il était né aux États-Unis, et ça a pris des années. Même Donald Trump a souvent lancé des défis à Barack Obama. Sors-nous ton certificat de naissance, Barack, puis je vais donner des millions de dollars à la cause humanitaire que tu choisiras. Et jamais il l'a fait. Ça a pris des années avant que la Maison-Blanche falsifie, nous présente un faux certificat de naissance de Barack Obama. Vous le savez, ça a été montré, même que le frère de Barack Obama au Kenya a même tweeté l'original du certificat de naissance de Barack qui stipule qu'il est né au Kenya.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
And Eid Shema Mubarak.
Oh, OK.
To whom much is given, much is expected. I was sworn in.
À tous ceux à qui on donne beaucoup, on attend beaucoup d'eux. J'ai été fait président.
On the very Bible from which my mother would teach us.
J'ai prêté serment sur la Bible. J'ai apporté ma Bible pour mon assermentation, la Bible par laquelle ma mère nous enseignait. J'aimerais vous rappeler aussi que le nom de la mère de Donald Trump, c'est Maria. Et que le nom du père, c'est, je pense, c'est Frédéric ou Philippe Christ. Pas Chris, mais Christ. C'est assez étrange quand même.
As young children. My mother gave me this Bible, this very Bible, many years ago.
Ma mère m'a donné cette Bible-là que vous voyez il y a des années et des années.
And that faith lives on in my heart every single day.
Et cette foi que j'ai en Dieu, Jésus, vit dans mon cœur à tous les jours.
We are not just flesh and bone and blood.
On n'est pas juste du sang, de la chair et des os.
We are human beings with souls.
On est des êtres humains avec une âme.
Our republic was formed on the basis that freedom is not a gift from government.
Notre république a été fondée sur le fait que la liberté, écoutez ça, c'est pas un cadeau de notre gouvernement,
but that freedom is a gift from God.
mais que la liberté est un cadeau de Dieu. C'est pour ça que je vous explique souvent que la liberté, les droits et libertés, ça ne vient pas des gouvernements. Les gouvernements, ils vous donnent des privilèges. Parce que les droits et libertés, ça vient de Dieu, c'est immuable. Et ces gens-là qui nous gouvernent, depuis toujours, ont contrecarré cette liberté-là ultime et immuable pour la remplacer, parce qu'ils se sont substitués à Dieu pour nous gouverner par des privilèges.
And America will thrive as long as we continue to have faith in each other and faith in God.
Et l'Amérique va continuer à être prospère et libre tant qu'on aura confiance en nous et confiance et croyance en Dieu.
As long as we have God, we are never, ever alone.
Et tant et aussi longtemps qu'on a Dieu, on n'est jamais seul.
I mean, Christianity, when you think of what's happening, you look at the numbers. I talk about Sunday school, people don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. It's true, they don't know what I'm talking about. When you look, instead of going this way, you're going to be going this way, you may be going this way.
Donc il dit la chrétienté s'en va en pente descendante. Je parle de ça, les gens ne savent même pas de quoi je parle. Mais avec moi, ça ira pas non plus en ligne droite, ça va aller en augmentant. Parce que c'est son but, lui.
But you're going to be going, we're going to bring it back.
On va le ramener.
Because it's a good thing.
Parce que c'est une bonne chose.
They treated you like it was a bad thing, but
Ils vous ont traité depuis des années, nos gouvernements, Barack Obama, nos gouvernements ici, comme étant une mauvaise chose d'être chrétien. Non, c'est une bonne chose.
it's a great thing, not a
C'est une
it's
grande
a
chose.
great thing. So, we're going to bring it back
Donc, on va le ramener, on va la ramener, la chrétianité.
because it's a good thing.
Parce que c'est une bonne
It's a good
chose.
thing.
I think we can do really something special. And we're going to protect Christianity. And I can say that. I don't have to be politically correct or...
Et il dit, on va protéger les chrétiens. J'ai pas besoin de changer mon discours et d'être politiquement correct. On va protéger les chrétiens. Lui, pendant longtemps, il a dit, faut que ça arrête le décapitage des têtes des chrétiens dans le monde.
We're going to protect it. You know? And I asked Jerry and I asked some of the folks because I hear this is a major theme right here, but 2 Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians 3:17, that's the whole ball game. Where the Spirit of the Lord, right? Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty.
Il dit, il fait référence à un extrait de la Bible, il dit, où l'Esprit de Dieu se trouve, il y a de la liberté. Donc, voyez-vous, je pense que c'est assez facile à comprendre ce qui s'est passé, ce qui se passe. J'espère que les gens vont prendre conscience, avant qu'il soit trop tard, du bienfait d'avoir cet homme-là à la présidence des États-Unis.